everyone, it's Vicky here. Like I said in my earlier video, I am going to be doing a few videos today. And I was watching YouTube, I think it was the other week, and I saw Invoking the Balance did a tag one, and it was 21 questions. I know she didn't tag me in it, but I like the questions and I am going to answer them. So the first question she put was, what background of witchcraft do you practice? Now, my background started as Wicca, studying Wicca, an eclectic Wiccan that worked with the Fae, which most of you know looking at my Fairy Witch 1 channel. But at the moment I am leaning more towards paganism, but I'm still on that unsure part of things. It's a very confusing time because I've been going to this moot and it's all jumbled up in my head, so I'm in between Wicca and paganism at the moment, but I am definitely still working with the Fae, very, very much so, and that is the biggest part of my practice is with fairies and fairy magic and the Fae. So, number 2, what is your favourite witchy thing to do? And she's put, i.e. candle making, herbs or divination. Now out of them, those suggestions, mine's divination, and that's pendulum work, ruins and tarot cards, but mainly pendulum. I love working with my pendulum. What is your favourite type of magic that you like to do? I've got two. I like fairy magic and I like candle magic. Now I combine the two together, so that is how I use it. I actually combine the fairy magic with the candle magic because I use certain different elements out of the out of the Fae. For example, you know, the Undines, the Salamanders, the Sylphs, the Gnomes. Name your top 5 herbs. Lavender, sage. Now this isn't in any particular order because I could not put them in order. Marshmallow root. Ooh, that's tough. Mint. And I actually can't think of another one of my favourites, but they're the top 4 of my favourites. Ooh, rose as well. Dried rose petals that I like to use as well. What's your favourite type of divination? Well, I've already answered that one. That was pendulum work. I love working with my pendulum. I've actually got a few. I get the most energy working with pendulum. I always feel more connected with the pendulum than any other divination tool. And I tend to keep that very close to my bed at night, and I sleep with it right next to me. How did you come to practice witchcraft? I have done a video on this before, but basically I've always been interested in fairies. That was one thing as growing up as a child. I've always been interested in fairies. I even had a tree in my mum's garden that was called the fairy tree because I believed that the fairies all lived there. Well, not all of them, but there were fairies that lived in that tree is how I believed. Then as I got older, I still always believed in the fairies, but I got a magazine once called Ms. Magazine. And Ms. Magazine used to have a section on spells, and you used to get a spell in it every week that the magazine came out. There would be a spell, like they had friendship spells, love spells. To be honest, when I was younger, I used to actually cut these spells out and stick them into a separate book and keep hold of them. I used to do that with the astrology as well. I used to keep all that. And there was an article in this magazine once about a teenage witch, and I think that's what got me interested in it, but it was only in the last few years that I actually started studying properly and really practicing. So, are you in a coven or solitary? I'm actually a solitary practitioner at the moment. I work alone. I was considering going into a coven. In my last video, they go on about a moot. Well, a moot's not a coven, and I'll do a video separately on what a moot is for you. A lot of you out there will know about it, but it's not a coven. What's your favourite Esbat, Sabbath or Solstice? I love full moon and I love Samhain. They're my two favourites. I also love the summer solstice as well. They're well, I've got three there. They're the three that I love the most. The longest day of the year has always been my favourite, even before I started practicing witchcraft, paganism or Wicca. I always loved the longest day of the year, and Samhain is just very spiritual, and I feel more of a connection to those that have passed on that day. What is your favourite witchy movie? And that's got to be The Craft. I love The Craft. That is one of my favourite films. I've loved it since I was a kid. What's your favourite witchy book, both learning and fantasy? The Wiccan Handbook's my favourite of the Wiccan books. I also have a favourite fairy book, and that was Fairy Magic by... oh no. Marie Bruce. And I also am enjoying this book at the moment, Fairy Bible. And that's by my side because I'm still rereading this one now. Fantasy books, witchy fantasy books. It was always been the L.J. Smith Secret Circle. One of my favourite fantasy witchy books. I've loved them for years, and I'm just sad to see that people have actually took over from her writing and are writing based on the L.J. Smith series, and I don't understand that, why they've been doing that. What's your favourite witchy show? Well, it was The Secret Circle when that was being produced, but they cancelled that. And before that, it was Charmed, which I think 90% of people say Charmed, don't they? What's your favourite colour and what does it mean to you? My favourite colour is pink, and to me, pink was at a time, I started liking pink at a time where a big transformation happened in my life, where I went from this angry, horrible, nasty teenager dealing with a lot of issues like my dad dying and all that, and finally hitting that point in my life where it sunk in, because it took about 6 years. Yeah, it took about 6 years for me to actually come to terms with the death of my dad. So pink to me was that time where I had actually come to terms with things and was able to move on, and that is when I decorated my room in my mum's house bright pink and started getting everything pink, and I just started feeling more connected back to being a nice person and getting on with everyone and not feeling the anger from his death. What type of animal, creature, person is your spirit guide and or totem animal? Mine's a raven. I've never understood why, but my totem animal is a raven. They're always there, they're always about, and they're always in my mind and always in my dreams. How many lives do you think you've had? How many lives do you think you've had? I know of one other life I've had, and that was of a young Victorian girl, and I know in that life I was a servant girl to a very elegant lady, but I don't think she was in normal society, because the way the setup of the house wasn't normal to what you would expect of high society Victorian person. More like I'm convinced that the woman that I was serving was a witch, but I can't be 100% sure of that, because I've only ever had the one instance where I've gone back and remembered little bits. So at the moment I only think I've had one extra life. I know that my mum's had quite a few. I do know that she keeps having tidbits of different things from different lifetimes, and when she goes to different areas, she's actually said she's remembered that area without even going there. What is your element? My element is fire, but I do draw towards air. I've always drawn towards air since I was a child. That was one thing that's always stuck in my mind, that I used to sit in my window as a child and always used to think that when I lifted my arms up I was controlling the wind. What is your astrology sign? Mine's an Aries. That's born the 31st of March. Who is your goddess and god? I'm still not sure who my god is, and I don't think I'll ever be 100% sure who my god is. So I tend to use different gods at different times, but my goddess is Hecate. What is your favourite crystal? Hematite. What is your favourite witchy tool? My favourite witchy tool is my athame. I think it's so pretty, my athame. I love it. And I love getting that chance to use it and drawing energy through it. I also love using candles. What is your favourite witchy craft you do? Now, I don't know in what sense she means by that. So I'm going to go with, in my mind, reading that. I can't even answer that because I actually don't know which sort of craft she wants, so I'm going to bypass that. And the last one was, shout out your top 5 witches you watch on YouTube. I watch Invoking the Balance, I watch Lisa the Pagan, the Rook's Hollow, there are quite a few I watch actually, but it's being put, I'll tell you now who I watch, because I'm not going to go away until I've actually told you who I watch. Because a lot of the ones I used to watch have actually gone now. So, Invoking the Balance, Lisa Griffiths, Glammy Witch, Oathbound Secrets, Rook's Hollow, like I said. I watch Magic TV with Reverend Don and Mirth and Reverence. They're the ones at the moment I can truly think of. So they're 21 questions. I may have bypassed one because I didn't quite get it, but that might be my dyslexia coming through, not quite understanding the question. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and bless it be everyone. If you do want to do these 21 questions, let me know and I will send you the list of questions. So bless it be everybody.